Welcome to this episode of the Obscurity of Maximum Security with Kara Phillip and, most importantly, Mike Johnson. Today we're going to talk about transfers.
Transfers. Joliet Correctional Center, now known as the old Joliet Prison, was a reception center for Northern Illinois. That means that all the counties in Northern Illinois would bring their freshly sentenced inmates to us for processing. So once they are processed and they're determined if they're minimum security, medium, or max, some guys will stay at Joliet on the pop side, but the majority of them are going to get transferred to institutions all over the state. So we used to take guys in buses and either take them directly to where they were going, or we would get down to like Lincoln and Logan, and then another bus would take them to points south.
Okay.
All right, now that was a little later, but the first transfer I went on, we took 40 guys to Vandalia. And this is before they started to split it and have somebody, we took them straight to Vandalia. That was a long haul that day. About, I don't know, maybe close to 5 hours. And you can't just take the shortest route. You got to stick to the interstates. So we went 80 to 57 south, and whatever that is down there by Effingham, 70 or 74, I don't know.
I want to say 70, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Took that west, and then we hit 51 and took 51 north. Now, the best way to go would be 55 to 51 and go straight down.
Yeah.
But we couldn't do that. You got to stick with the interstate so the state police can find you if there's an emergency or something. So, all right, we're going to Vandalia. We're loading up the bus. Now, the guys, again, leg chains, handcuffed in front, waist chain on. Now the inside of a transfer bus looks like a school bus, except there's a cage in the back where a guard sits and a cage in the front where the driver and another guard sit. There are no weapons on the bus. The guard in front has pepper spray. The weapons are in the cover car that follows the bus. You've probably seen it. Mm-hmm. And again, back in the 80s, we had those lovely brown station wagons. Okay. So anyway, we're loading the guys on the bus. Also, picture a school bus in your mind, 2 guys in each bench, and in between the 2 guys on each side of the bus, we ran a chain that ran the whole length of the bus on each side. The inmate on the front of the chain, you'd put a cuff on his wrist, and you put the link through the end, or the cuff through the end link, through the link. Everybody else, until you get to the last guy, you put a cuff on his wrist, depending on what side he's on, left or right, and then you would put the other cuff around the chain. And then the last guy, you'd put the cuff through the last link. And see, the reason why you do this, if there's an emergency, you take the guy off the front or the back, and all the other inmates could walk right off the chain, if that makes sense.
Oh!
So it's,
Yeah, that does make sense.
So anyway, that's how you secure everybody on it for a transfer. And I don't know if you're going to have to blip something out on this one. But so we're getting the guys, all locked up and everything, on the bus. And this one inmate, now remember, we're going down to Vandalia. And this inmate says to me, I'm doing his cuffs and stuff. And he says, Mike, he says, they're sending me down there with all those snuff-dipping country-ass motherfuckers.
It's Southern Illinois.
And I never forgot that. And I mean, he was serious. He really didn't want to go down there. I mean,
that was the fear. You're in prison. You've gotten this far.
Yeah.
But just please not Southern Illinois.
Yeah, he's from Chicago, and he didn't want to go down there, But anyway, we take off, and we take 80 to 57, like I said, down to whatever that is, 70 or 74 at Effingham. We turn there, and then go up 51, and unload everybody, and then come back empty. That was a long day. We didn't get back to the institution till like 9:30 or 10 something. It was a long day.
Yeah.
We started at 6:45, so. But anyway, like I said, later they started to split it, and we'd take them to Lincoln Logan, and there'd be another bus. We'd load all the guys on their bus, and then they'd head south and go to, Menard was the reception center down for Southern Illinois. But I imagine since these guys were already processed, they would stop.
They just know where they're going.
Right, and then if somebody had to go further west, maybe they took them to Menard, and then they went from there. I don't know what they did once.
What a journey.
Once they took them from us. I just know what happened between Joliet and where we went.
So how did they decide which one they went to? Just if it was like maximum.
Well, back in
minimum,
those days, 6 years and under was minimum.
Okay.
6 to 12 years was medium, and 12 and over was max.
Oh.
And of course, they looked at crimes, history, and all that kind of stuff, and then they'd make a determination who goes to a minimum, medium, or a max. Back then, there were 4 maxes. Okay, TAMS came later, and I believe that's shut down now.
Which one was that one?
TAMS. It was a super max, and but that came later. So during my time, we had Joliet, Stateville, Pontiac, and Menard were the 4 max joints, and then there were mediums and minimums spread out all over the place. Okay. That's Vandalia. Oh, okay. This transfer, we're going down to Lincoln and Logan. All right. So we're on 55. And now on the transfer bus, I know a lot of people out there are probably thinking, hey, they're all chained up. They're in a bus. How did they go to the bathroom?
I was going to ask. I was.
Well, hey, we had a 5-gallon bucket.
Oh, no.
On the bus. And it was usually in the back cage, okay, with, the guard that's back there. And I was in the back cage on, I think, most of my transfers I was on. And I'm telling you, it's like you're 15 or 20 minutes into a 2-hour trip, because it's nonstop. And some inmate will go, I gotta take a piss, So here I am with the bucket.
Quite frankly, I mean, yeah.
So I'd open up the gate and I'd kick the bucket and it'd slide down, So he'd get up, and he'd take a leak in the bucket, and then never failed. He'd go, okay, come and get it. I said, hey, fuck you. That's staying there. The next guy that has to go, you slide it along to him. I'm not going to be running back and forth getting that bucket. What do they think this is?
Yeah. That's what I was picturing. I was like, do you have to go back out and carry it back?
So anyway, we're continuing along. Now, when we got to wherever sometimes they'd kick the bucket over.
That's my next fear.
Yeah, but usually when we got to the end of the line, I'd empty the bucket, and but enough about the bucket. So, I think we're done.
I think time's already up for this episode. Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Obscurity of Maximum Security with Kara Phillip and, most importantly, Mike Johnson. Bye.
Yay.